The Raging Kucing, down at Cinecenter today, checking out the newly released documentary Blackfish about orca whales kept in captivity. We're just going to be asking people after the show what they think about the film and how it made them feel, and in general, what do they think about whales and other animals being kept in captivity. Let's see what they had to say. Hi, David. Thanks for taking the time to talk to the Raging Kucing.
The Raging
Kucing. Raging cat is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So you just saw Blackfish. Mm-hmm. And what did you think of the movie?
Well, I thought it was a really well-made film and very useful to raise people's awareness of issues around orcas.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did it make you feel? Any feelings come up for you throughout the film?
A lot of feelings, sort of, frustration and anger with, how corporations, abuse animals to make profits and create false, impressions of nature with people. So that's it's a destructive thing, to kind of characterize animals that way.
So, did you ever actually get to see Sealand when it was here?
No, I never saw Sealand here. No, but I did visit. I guess it's SeaWorld in San Diego. I'm not sure what it's called, but I was in San Diego and I saw. I went to that exhibit.
Okay, so you have seen them in captivity before. Yeah, and what did you think of it when you saw that?
It was. I didn't like it, but at the same time, I had young kids, and it was kind of neat to show them the animals and so on. But there's a bad feeling about it because you realize they shouldn't be here. You don't feel good about them being there. But at the same time, it was sort of like I don't think at the time, that was like 20 years ago. No, 25 years ago. I didn't think that. I didn't realize it was as bad as the film portrays it really is.
Yeah. Was there any particular aspect of the film that made you that was really hard for you?
I think the understanding of the psychological torture of the animals, from childhood on, separation of their family, and the psychological torture, the ongoing torture, and the way they reacted is, it's just so similar to what people are like that it's very, very painful to watch. I am actually a psychiatrist, and I see people who had lives of being, treated really badly, and it really damages them. And so, I could really relate to these guys, these animals being damaged by that.
Yeah, and we see animals in these conditions acting this way, and often because that's sort of how we've come to normatively understand our relation with animals in many ways. We're surprised, we think it's an accident, we think, how could this ever be, they should be so happy, and yet, do you think we'd expect the same, or we'd be as surprised if we saw a person doing it after being kept in similar conditions for all their life?
I see the people who've done it.
Yeah. Okay, so does it change your opinion about other animals in captivity?
No, because my opinion was already pretty firm that it's not a great thing.
Okay, so do you feel the same way about animals, say, kept on farms, things like that?
Absolutely. The way things are done is very important. I'm not against farming at all, but the way things are done is really important.
Right. But should animals be used for entertainment or science? Then, do you think?
For sure. I think we have to consider animals to be used. It's how you do it that really matters. Science is very important.
So you think we should, something like SeaWorld or Sealand should continue to operate as long as it's done in a
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. Well. No, I think that there could be pools, perhaps, where orcas are, in an ocean setting or something, kind of thing, but not in a Sealand setting, or no, definitely not. I don't think that's a good idea.
Right. And what about scientific research and things like that?
No, I don't think you can study them in the wild. That's a better way to study them.
Right. So we just shouldn't
No,
keep them in
I don't
captivity
think
at all?
so. I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
All right, and what's your favorite animal?
I don't think I have a favorite animal.
No favorite animal?
No.
Okay. Well, this is the Raging Kucing, which means raging cat, as I mentioned. We do ask everybody to give us a meow at the end, just to make sure they're okay.
Meow.
Yeah.
Meow.
Perfect. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk. State your name for us.
Alan Epler.
Hi, Alan. Nice. Thanks for taking a second to talk to the Raging Kucing today.
You're very welcome.
So, what did you think of the film, Blackfish, that you just saw?
I was very anxious to see it. I've been following the reviews on Facebook ever since it was originally released, and it delivered. It was extremely moving. Made you love the orcas more than maybe you thought you realized, and made you realize what an injustice it is for an intelligent animal like that to, not an animal, an intelligent being, to be held captive the way they are, and to be victimized by corporations just like humans are, without the choice. And the sooner this goes away, the better. Really.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Any feelings really come up for you throughout the film, or any parts that were more difficult than any?
Well, I think as I watched, I was reminded of seeing them in the wild. We sail quite a lot in the southern, in the Juan de Fuca, the Salish Sea, and I've had a few experiences seeing them directly while we're having lunch and, swimming under my friend's boat and things like that. And even now, having not even seen an orca in the wild for probably 3 years now, closely anyway, like the fellow said in the movie, there's somebody home when you look at them, and I get a little moved even just talking about it now. But they're not animals. They're not like dogs. They're not like watching lions on a National Geographic special. They're there, and they're at least as intelligent as us, or more. And I really think that we have to start respecting that, because I think down the road, years down the road, we're going to realize that they've got something to really teach us.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, I agree. Did you go to Sealand when it was here ever?
Never.
Never. You
No.
never seen it? Have you ever been to one of the actual, any of the marinas?
I've never been to a marine park short of Vancouver Aquarium.
Okay.
Never saw the whales there directly. They don't have orcas there, but no. For many years I've kind of personally boycotted things like zoos and places like that for reasons that I just think that the display of animals and things like that is kind of wrong in the setting that they're doing it, in the ways they're doing it.
Definitely. Does it change your opinion about other animals being in captivity at all? Like seeing the film, like knowing what you know?
It kind of reinforces my thoughts, for sure. Again, I think that, seeing polar bears in the Winnipeg Zoo, for example, when it's 30 degrees outside and they're sitting in the rocks and, or sitting in a pool of water up to their necks because they're in an environment that they shouldn't be in. And it's wrong. Watching these male orcas with their collapsed dorsal fins, it's just so indicative of how wrong it is. Yeah. That they're somehow defeated.
You can see that resignation in their body.
It's almost an impotence. That they've and they have no choice.
Yeah.
So, what do some of these orcas do? They get frustrated and they kill.
So, that's something they kind of talked about in the film, the psychological component. Do you think that, people see the orcas do this and they're surprised, they thought, how could this ever happen?
Yeah.
We have very normative views of that animals should just be kind of okay in captivity or whatever.
Yeah.
And yet, we're not as surprised. Do you think we would be as surprised if a person put in similar conditions did the same act? Like if a human did it?
Sure, and of course that wouldn't be surprising. I can't imagine orcas kept randomly capturing human beings for their own entertainment, and how would the human react by eating stale bread all the time as a reward because that's all the orcas could get a hold of, and holding back food as a punishment for not doing what they want you to do. Absolutely, I think.
Yeah. Do you think there are sort of excusable reasons to keep animals in captivity, whether it's entertainment or scientific research?
I guess that's a bit of a hot button. For entertainment purposes, absolutely not. I think that anybody sitting in a chair in SeaWorld and seeing an orca in a swimming pool performing for food, and again, having not seen it personally live, is going to be far more moved by seeing them in their natural family habitat, where they're happy, the babies are, nudging their moms and playing. And again, there's someone home, they're there, and they should really be left alone,
Definitely. Some people do say that, this isn't it's an educational thing, seeing them.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Yeah, you call bullshit on that one?
Absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit. What we'll learn from orcas, we will learn from in the wild. Their family values, their social values, their real anthropology. Granny in the Juan de Fuca Strait here, they've just determined in the last couple of years she's at least 100 years old. And that can only occur because the family's looking out for her, no doubt helping her, and again, nurturing through a family environment. And when you're by yourself, whether you're human or an orca, you're not going to live a long life because you're not happy.
And you see the propaganda used by the industry, SeaWorld, whoever it is, to try to make people believe that this is all normal behavior, right? We see it with the circus, with elephants. We see it with the orcas here. That doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon.
Well, I hope with exposés like this, it's kind of funny. I find that going to events like this and seeing things like this, you're already preaching to the initiated. Kind of like, I don't know, I think that the people who come to these things, including myself, kind of already know kind of what they're in for. I would hope that a good majority of people might get invited, like I was inviting a lot of friends who didn't come, who don't get it, but I don't think that you could go to a show like this, or again, see orcas in the wild, and not have an attitude adjustment. Okay. I firmly believe that.
Thanks for taking the time
to talk
to us today. Just last question is always the hardest. What's your favorite animal?
What's my favorite animal? Well, tonight it's orcas.
Orcas. Okay.
Again, I've lived on the coast here for about 10 years. I'm a prairie boy, and again, the first encounter with orcas, I've got a little whale tail on my chain, which I bought a couple days later. And again, that was probably one of the most moving non-human interactions that I've ever experienced in my life. And at that time, I don't think a whale came more than 100 feet within us. But you could still, you can feel it.
You can feel the energy.
Who was it that said, the sea is cold, but it contains the hottest blood of all? Who said that? Damn. It's a great poem.
Okay.
But I think that speaks volumes. The Luna story that recently happened. One of the women that were interviewed, and she was actually taken to court and sued over touching the orca when she was told not to. And she said the thing that happened to her that she was so unexpected was when she reached down to touch Luna, he was hot. And that's life, that's us. We're warm when we touch each other, and we're out in the air, and this is an animal in near freezing water, and you touch Luna and he was hot,
Yeah, it's a beautiful story. Thank you.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. The last thing, this is the Raging Kucing, which is Raging Cat. We do ask everybody to give us a meow at the end.
Meow.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for taking the time today.
Hey, you're
really
very welcome.
Appreciate it.
Sure, thank you.
Thanks for taking a second to talk to the Raging Kucing. So you just saw the film Blackfish.
That's right.
What did you think?
It was a very new to me, certainly. Not completely new, but certainly a wonderful perspective on what is actually happening to whales in captivity. I guess I didn't ever really think about it before in any great detail, and this was certainly an eye-opener for me. Not that I wasn't aware, but certainly opened my eyes to the conditions that they may be under. Especially, I think one of the trainers said, we don't learn anything about these animals. They're just doing tricks for fish. And yeah, that's really what it's all about.
How did it make you feel, the film itself?
Powerless in the face of corporations, as I think many of us who should really be citizens, but unfortunately the corporations are turning us into consumers, whether it's of whale shows or anything else, or Coca-Cola. We're made sure that we're kept as part of the economic engine, as opposed to anything else.
Yeah.
And this is just part of the process. The discussion, there was this big divide in the movie between them, the corporation, and us. Like, they kept saying that they didn't tell us anything. They wouldn't mention this. This was kept under wraps by them. Like, isn't it interesting how we make corporations into mystical higher powers?
Definitely, and I'm not going to get into it here, but I think your concept of challenging the idea of citizenship, and especially these days, we're often called taxpayers rather than
and
citizens,
consumers,
right?
and,
So, removed from the political sphere in that sense. But,
I'll add one quote to that. I remember when after the 9/11 attacks, when the most important thing was for us to get out there and spend.
That's right. That's right. That's what they pushed us to do. That's right.
Anyway.
Okay, so did you ever go to Sealand when it was here?
No, but I did go see the show in Orlando.
Okay.
A long time ago, and just went for the entertainment, quite honestly. So it's again a bit of an eye opener here.
What did you think when you saw the show?
Loved it. I was thoroughly entertained. It was a wonderful show. Very colorful, incredibly well choreographed and orchestrated. Yeah, it was a great show. For entertainment value, it was wonderful.
Yeah. And did this change your perspective?
When you realize the penalty, yes. You absolutely see the penalty now that's being paid by somebody. Not much different than the penalty being the Christians paying to the lions for the benefit of the Romans. So really, we've been enjoying these spectacles across centuries, and somebody's always paying for them somehow in a negative way.
Yeah, and it's always the animals, it seems. Right?
Or in some cases, the gladiators, the people, that kind of thing.
That's right, yeah. And what about, does it change your perspective on other animals being kept in captivity?
I have a struggle with animals being kept in activity because it is fascinating to go animals that you just can't see in the wild. Quick example, my mother-in-law came to visit and we drove through Alberta and BC, and everywhere it says watch out for the animals, don't feed the animals. We never saw a single one until we got to the Calgary Zoo. And so it's wonderful to see these creatures, more wonderful if you can see them at night, or sorry, in their natural habitat. But that's when we saw them, and my mother-in-law was thrilled. So keeping creatures in captivity, I think, very hard challenge, very hard question to answer because it is enjoyable. I guess to some extent I do love the new sort of zoos that have changed into trying to create more natural habitats for the animals they keep. Because my first zoo was Regent Zoo in London, England, where it was just cages, bars, and now they're much more open concepts and so on. So at least we've progressed that way. Don't know, ambivalent about that, quite honestly.
Yeah, I mean, knowing that it's an industry, it's a corporate industry, right, and that it also is. Really, the effort is to create the illusion that you're seeing something natural rather than it actually being natural in itself.
No, I don't think I was ever taken by the fact that I was, like, when I went to SeaWorld, it certainly wasn't natural. And certainly having had the experience here of being out sailing and seeing the whales out in the wild, and then there's a scene at the beginning of the movie where there's, 8 or 10 whales all sort of swimming along by the forested shoreline, all spouting this beautiful classic whale scene out of British Columbia. And I've seen that from a boat from about 100 yards away. Just gorgeous. So I'm sorry, I got off track from your question about the requirement for keeping animals in captivity.
Well, that it's really creating an illusion.
Yes.
They can dress it up nicely, but
a circus is all an illusion. I mean, a lot of entertainment is illusion, isn't it? So maybe zoos are a special category in that maybe there's really proper science behind that, and as opposed to these trainers who were just thrown in. They didn't need a marine biology degree to be trainers.
So would you say you do or don't agree with animals being kept in captivity?
I'm going to sit on the fence on that one. I really don't know.
Okay, we're not going to get you there. All right. So other than that, the last question, as I mentioned, is the hardest. What's your favorite animal?
My favorite animal? Oh my gosh, my favorite animal. For some reason, elephants comes to mind. I don't know why. They just do.
Can you give us your best raging elephant? Because we always ask people to do their best elephant or
A raging elephant.
Yeah. Beautiful. Wow, that was impressive. And this is the raging Kucing, which means raging cat. So will you give us a meow? That was excellent as well. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
You're welcome.
All right, take care. And thanks for taking a second and talk to the raging Kucing.
No problem.
So you just saw Blackfish, the documentary about orcas in captivity. What did you think of the film?
A lot of it is stuff that I've already considered, but some details that I wasn't aware of, and it's pretty horrific stuff.
Yeah. How did the film make you feel?
A little bit helpless, like seeing things that are happening, obviously pretty widespread. This company, SeaWorld, is in a lot of different places, and I don't really know what to do.
Definitely. Was there any scenes in the film that were particularly difficult to see?
It was quite. It was troubling to see the whales attacking each other in the pools. Like just being contained with other whales that they didn't get along with, and also the whales at Sealand here in Victoria, showing where they slept. I found that pretty disturbing.
Yeah. Did you ever go to Sealand when it was here in Victoria?
I did. I was like 3 or 4, but I don't really remember the show. I just remember the blue and white pool, and I don't remember much of it, but I did go.
Yeah, definitely. So, what do you think about whales in the captivity? Is it justified? Is there any excuse for it?
No, I don't think that at all. I've been a kayak guide up on Haida Gwaii, and I've seen lots of whales and porpoises and dolphins and sea lions out where they're supposed to be, and I just don't think that keeping animals in confinement for entertainment is ever justifiable.
Yeah. What about other animals? Does this film change your opinion on that at all?
It doesn't change my opinion at all. I don't think that any animals should be kept in confinement for entertainment or for any other purpose.
For science and everything?
And doubly for science, no.
Okay. And Ben, the last question is always the most difficult. What's your favorite animal?
This isn't difficult. Wait, maybe it is. I like turtles.
Turtles?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to get...
And can I tell you a little story about that?
Yeah.
The reason that I love turtles so much is because my mother, who is an animal rights activist, probably has gone through a change of heart since then, bought me a turtle when I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I named it Spike, and we kept the turtle in an aquarium until it escaped.
It escaped?
Well, it didn't escape from the aquarium. It was sunning on the lawn and took off, headed downhill.
Right.
When my mom wasn't looking, so.
Oh, did you find him? Or?
No, Spike was gone.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm over it.
I used to have a turtle too.
Really?
But eventually we decided that it was just not cool to have this big turtle in this tiny aquarium. We put him in Beacon Hill Park.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe one of his offspring, or one of the ones that you see tanning on the logs now. Who knows?
Holy man!
But we do ask people to do an impression of their favorite animal on the Raging Kucing. Can you give us a turtle impression? It might be kind of tough.
I got a wicked turtle, man.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see it. Oh my! That is beautiful. That's a thing of beauty, folks. That was really nice.
I'm glad you liked it.
And this is the Raging Kucing, of course, which means raging cat. Can you give us a meow as well? Meow. Oh, that's a beautiful meow. Thanks very much for taking the time to talk to us.
No problem.
Hi, Marcy. Thanks for taking a second to talk to the Raging Kucing.
No problem.
So we just saw the Blackfish film about orcas in captivity.
Yeah.
And you've seen it. No, you haven't seen it yet?
Not yet. I'm manning my booth over here.
You're manning your booth, yeah. So can you tell us what's going on in the booth? Because it's really interesting.
Yeah, so people come out of the film, and most of them have a lot of questions, or they want to know what they can do right now. So we're focusing on an orca known as Lolita. She was captured 43 years ago now from the local endangered southern resident killer whales. And she's been in the Miami Seaquarium ever since in a tiny little tank, and her tail actually hits the bottom. It's that shallow. So because she's local and her mom is still alive and still in the area, we're really focusing on getting her released. She's one of the best candidates for release right now, and we want to get her back out there in the wild.
Definitely, yeah. So what kind of things can people do to get involved with this?
There are dozens of online petitions for every aquarium in the world. You can look them up, sign all of those. We've got letters here at the table that you can sign, put your address on. We'll ship them off for you individually to the Miami Seaquarium. So they get a lot of mail. We've got the release plan for Lolita and some other info on captivity as well.
Awesome. That's great. It's great to see people doing this kind of work. You know, we need to obviously get the message out and try to end this systemic, taking from the wild captivity that's going on. How do you feel about other animals in captivity and stuff?
I don't agree with captivity in general.
Okay.
It's hard though because you have to pick your battles. If every person was to fight for every animal, it would be phenomenal, but we would all be exhausted and drop dead.
Yeah.
So I've really focused on cetaceans in particular, but I don't believe in any captivity at all.
Okay. And so one thing I found about the film is that this is going on all over the world, right? It's not just here in Spain, right? You mentioned to me earlier Russia might have just captured some killer whales.
Yeah,
there
was a report out of Russia just yesterday, actually. They caught an orca last year. We've named her Narnia. She's a 6-year-old orca, but they've just apparently recently captured 3 more orcas for a new aquarium they're building. Right. So we're not too happy about that.
And is your plan to continue to focus just on the one particular orca, or is it your efforts going to continue to expand from more?
My efforts are on all of them.
Okay.
For this particular event, we're focusing on Lolita because she's local and people can do something. I'm definitely, in the long run, focused on everyone.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's awesome. We need people like you to keep doing this great work. Did you go to Sealand when it was here?
I was born the year Sealand closed, I think.
Oh, okay.
So I missed out on that one. I was taken to the Vancouver Aquarium when I was fairly young. Saw Biosa and Hayek, I think.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the point things changed for me. It was all cool when I was there, fine and dandy, getting splashed. When Biosa was transferred to SeaWorld, she passed away very shortly after. And in my young child's mind, SeaWorld killed Biosa. And that was that for me. SeaWorld was evil.
Yeah.
And then seeing them in the wild for the first time, that just solidified in my mind they do not belong in captivity at all.
Definitely. Do you think it's okay to keep animals in captivity for education, scientific research, anything like that?
That's the hard part because it's so hard to go to Africa and see a lion. How many people get that amazing opportunity? But when you look at them in captivity, they have a stereotypic and psychotic pacing tendency. You can tell they're not happy. And I mean, it's much harder with snakes and smaller critters to see that they're not happy. But would we be happy if we were forced to live like Harry Potter under the stairs for the rest of our lives? Because that's the equivalent for us.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Seeing an animal in captivity just is not really like seeing the animal at all.
And research on captive animals, you can't apply that in almost any way to wild animals. It doesn't transfer to the wild ones.
Definitely. So where can people find out more about your organization, what you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm starting a new organization called the Victoria Marine Science Association. You can email us at victoriamarinescience@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook, just Victoria Marine Science Association.
Wonderful. And of course, the most difficult question we have is, what's your favorite animal?
An orca?
An orca? And can you do an orca for us?
Ew!
Very good. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, and have you listened to a lot of orcas?
Yeah, I listen to them on the hydrophones almost constantly.
They do have a beautiful voice.
They do.
And this is the Raging Kucing, of course, which means raging cat. So we do ask everybody to give us a meow at the end. That's very good too. Do you listen to a lot of cats?
I used to have cats.
You used to have cats, so close enough. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, there you have it, folks. Wide range of views, but I think everybody can agree that there's just no excuse for keeping orcas in captivity. Most people also agreeing that there's no excuse for keeping other animals in captivity either. It was an extremely powerful film. I definitely encourage everyone to go see it if they have the opportunity. It's playing all week here through till next Friday or Sunday, I believe. And honestly, I couldn't stop from crying. The calling of the whales, the most difficult part for me to see was the babies being taken away from the mothers and the screams of the mothers. It honestly was one of the most heart-wrenching things I've ever seen. I think that just seeing the emotionality, the expressiveness of other animals is really captured extremely well in this film, and I think anybody can appreciate the degree that the people care about the animals, and also the fact that also the corporate and industry efforts to cover up what's really going on in these situations, how abusive it is, how cruel it is to keep animals in captivity, and it just has to come to an end. So for the Raging Kucing, this is Jordan Reichert signing off. Till next time. Meow.